Let me try and explain this to you. I wasn't born Labour, I became Labour. And when you look back on your past, you try and think of the things that shaped you. My father was a very ambitious man. He was ambition personified, successful, he was a go-getter. One morning I woke to be told that he'd had a stroke in the middle of the night and might not live through the day. And my whole world then fell apart. And it taught me something. It taught me the value of the family, because my mother worked for 3 years to help him talk and walk again. But it taught me something else too. When that happened, the fair weather friends, they went. That's not unusual. But the real friends, the true friends, they stayed with us. They helped us. And they stuck with us for no other reason than that it was the right thing to do. And I don't pretend to you that I had a deprived childhood. I didn't. But I learned a sense of values in my childhood. And you know, a year ago or more, John Prescott and I went up to Sam McCluskey's funeral. And a lot of you will remember Sam McCluskey. He was a great guy, great stalwart of the Labour movement. I think it would be fair to say that we didn't always absolutely agree on everything. And as I left the church, the service, one of the sisters came up to me and she pressed a little strip of red ribbon into my hand, which is something I keep with me still, and said, this is a keepsake that Sam used to have, and I want you to have it. And I was embarrassed, and I turned around to her and I said, look, you know, I didn't know Sam that well, and quite honestly, a lot of the time we didn't see eye to eye. And she said to me, I know that, but in your souls, you want the same thing, a better world. And that is it. That is what we believe in. And yes, we are a democratic socialist party. Indeed, it says so in the words of Clause 4, the new Clause 4, the one I drafted and the party overwhelmingly supported, in a tradition bigger than that, bigger than European social democracy, bigger than any ism, bigger than any of us. It stands in a tradition whose flame was alive in human hearts long before the Labour Party was ever thought of. A tradition far above ideology, but not beyond ideals. We are not a sect or a cult. We are part of the broad movement of human progress. The marriage of ambition with justice, the constant striving of the human spirit to do better, to be better. And it is that which separates us from the conservatives. And it was there long ago, there even when the ancient prophets of the Old Testament first pleaded the cause of the marginal, the powerless, the disenfranchised. It was there when Wilberforce fought the slave trade against the vested interests of Tory money. It was there when the trade union movement began as an instrument against abuse in the workplace. It was there when the young Jack Jones went to fight in the Spanish Civil War for another people's freedom out of nothing more than a goodness. We said, having conquered the evil of Hitler, that the welfare state must be built so that the destitution of the 1930s never returned to our country. And it is here, now, in this room, as we build around the Labour Party, the new force for progress in British politics, to bring in the new age of achievement for all our people. 1,000 days, yes, to prepare for that 1,000 years. And consider 1,000 years of British history and what it tells us. The first parliament of the world, the Industrial Revolution ahead of its time, an empire, the largest the world has ever known, relinquished in peace. The invention of virtually every scientific device of the modern world. 2 world wars, in which our country was bled dry, in which 2 generations perished, but which in the defeat of the most evil force ever let loose by man, showed the most sustained example of bravery in human history. This is our nation. Our characteristics: common sense, standing up for the underdog, fiercely independent. But the outstanding British quality is courage. Not just physical bravery, but the courage to think anew, to break convention when convention is holding us back, to innovate whilst others conform, to do it our way. And I say to the British people, have the courage to change now. We are coming home to you. We are back as the party of the people, and that's why the people are coming back to us. And when Alan Howarth has the courage to tear up the ties of a lifetime because he can no longer stomach today's Tory party and he sees his home as New Labour, I say welcome to him, and welcome to those.
Every pound left in the pay packet is a token of freedom. Every pound taken out of the pay packet is a way choice. Literally in the budget after election, up by the single largest amount ever in peacetime history in Britain. Personal allowances for Britain, mortgage tax relief, home insurance tax, national insurance up, and of course VAT on fuel. The one thing that they promised quite specifically that they would do. 22 different tax rises, 22 different betrayals. 1 million people affected by repossession, negative equity, job insecurity, all the things that people were promised would not happen. What do they do when they come along today, just before the 1997 election? They tell us again, that Britain's booming, that we're on the edge of an economic miracle, that really if you vote for them, they're going to spray around all the tax cuts and all the goodies that people could possibly want. I think that we've heard it all before. Basildon isn't booming. Basildon has been betrayed. And Britain isn't booming. Britain has been betrayed. This country cannot trust the Conservatives again. Britain deserves better. And with today's Labour Party, you Labour, it... Now I tell you what we want for our country and our society. We support people getting on. You work hard, you make money, fair enough, you deserve it. We support enterprise. We support a competitive economy with successful businesses and a prosperous workforce. But we're only going to promise what we are sure that we can deliver. And when we pledge not to raise the basic or top rate of income, we do that specifically because that is a pledge that we can give to this country after those 22 tax rises. But in every area where we make specific commitments on health, on our schools, on crime, on the state of the economy, on jobs for our young people, in every single instant, wherever we are saying we're going to spend money, we say precisely where that money comes from. Now you will know that the other thing that's happened today is that the churches in Britain have issued their report on unemployment and the future of work. And I think that they're right to speak out on behalf of the unemployed and right to draw attention to the need to create more work opportunities. Now, we may not agree with all the measures that they propose. Indeed, we don't. But we agree with the essential diagnosis, which is this, that if this country is to be strong, it has to become one nation again, where opportunity is extended throughout our society and where the divisions and inequalities are healed, where that fractured society is healed and put together again. Now, we are the only political party standing in this election with a specific programme to tackle youth and long-term unemployment. Now, we have said that we will do this by the windfall, the excess profits of the privatised utilities. And we've said we'll put that money, and those profits are there, it's quite clear, it's even been discounted in the share prices of those companies. That money is going to be put in a dedicated fund that over the lifetime of a Labour Parliament will ensure that we issue to those young people, 200,000 of them, that are presently on the dole, give them a choice of 4 different options to get them back into work or with a proper apprenticeship and skilled. Now, that is the pledge that we make to them. And if we can lift, as a start, 250,000 young people, benefit and into work, well, we'll at least have gone some way to making a start in healing the problems in our country. You know, all the way through, as we launched our manifesto last week, we're going to promise the earth, but we're not going to say, you know, we wave a magic wand and the whole world's put to rights. We are offering specific changes that can give Britain a fresh start. I believe the time is now right for that change in our society. If people see a Conservative Party that has changed for the worse, and a Labour Party that has changed for the better. And I think here in Basildon, there is nowhere more appropriate than to make the claim that Britain deserves better, and that under New Labour, Britain will be better.